lifted every voice in 2018. We're going to do it again in 2019. Consistently with us weekly is the president of the oldest and boldest, most cussed, most discussed civil rights organization in history, Derrick Johnson, president of the NAACP, who is now on Instagram, y'all. Derrick Johnson is on Instagram at Derrick NAACP. Good morning, Derrick. Happy New Year, man.
Good morning, Mark. Happy New Year. And for all of our NAACP members, this is our 110th anniversary this year, and we're looking forward to having some big policy wins. So thank you again, Mark, for allowing me to come on the show.
Of course, man, and we love having you. I mentioned you're on Instagram, but you went on Instagram, you got an account, but during Christmas, or right in the week before Christmas, on the 18th, 25th, I participated. The NAACP asked us to log out of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. What impact do you think that had, Derrick?
Well, for the NAACP, we want to make it clear to Facebook and all of their partner companies that it's not acceptable to sell our data without giving proper notice. It's not acceptable to have opposition research against African Americans group. It is not acceptable to allow a foreign nation to use their platforms to subvert democracy by suppressing the black vote. So we needed to send that loud and clear message, and that's what we were seeking to do.
2018 was a great year, an extraordinary year for civil rights, was it not, Derrick?
It was outstanding. We sent out a recap of some of the things we did in 2018, from the successful DACA lawsuit against the Trump administration blocking his rollback of that Obama-era policy, all the way to filing a lawsuit in Connecticut to challenge how they do prison gerrymandering, where they use the population of inmates to count for individuals in rural areas and rob inner city African American communities of that vote. To participating in March for Our Lives with Tiffany Lofton, our youth and college director, a powerhouse young woman who is perhaps not only the leader of the future, the leader of the day. We've had an amazing year, and it's because of our members, our supporters, and you, Mark, and many other in the media outlets, black media, who've allowed us to use our platform to advocate for social justice.
It has been a big year. Derrick, what are some of the goals of the NAACP in 2019? Or shall we say, are we as an organization making resolutions for civil rights and social justice? Should we call them those?
Well, I don't call it that. I don't do personal resolution, but I am saying that we're preparing now for the 2020 election cycle. We can no longer wait to the transaction of the election and hope that the outcome will be in our favor. We must prepare early. And so that's what we're going to be doing this year, preparing for 2020, the census process to make sure there's an accurate count, to advocate state by state that we have some election reforms around our voting laws, to work with this new Congress, particularly those members of the CBC who will be chairing committees to advance public policy to address economic insecurity. I mean, it's a big agenda. It's an agenda that's for Black America and other communities. It's an agenda to make democracy work for all of us.
Indeed. I want to point out, too, and folks, if you're watching us on our streams, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, make it plain, you can see what the NAACP did practically in every month of this past year, and what they were able to accomplish, including the commemoration of the 1968 sanitation workers strike, also the Stop Kavanaugh effort, the hashtag that the NAACP led, the defeat of Thomas Farr's nomination to the federal bench. So this has been a good year, Derrick.
That's on their thumbnail. Successful lawsuits in Shelby County, Tennessee. stopping them from not opening polling places in August, successful
Right.
lawsuits in Georgia, successful lawsuits in Michigan. I mean, we have been actively engaged to ensure that those who cannot speak for themselves have a vehicle at NAACP to speak truth to our reality and make sure we hold public officials and private corporations accountable to our needs and interests.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. What is the follow up now after the log out Facebook, log out Instagram, log out WhatsApp campaign? What do you see as the follow up to that, Derrick?
Follow multi-pronged. One, we're going to monitor to see whether or not they adopt the civil rights audit of their company that was released the week we did the log out. We're going to be monitoring to see whether or not they make the necessary changes to prevent future breaches, particularly with African American data. We're going to be looking at how Congress approached this and with a set of recommendations around oversight. That was only the beginning. That was only for us to register that here are some concerns we have as an organization, as a community. Now it's time to rectify past damage and address any future concerns as we see them.
Indeed, indeed. Folks, Derrick Johnson, the president of NAACP, one of the things we always would say during the holidays, and it's not too late, if you're going back to work this week or Monday and you haven't gotten that gift that you needed to get for someone as you go back to work, one thing you might want to consider as a gift is a membership to the NAACP. Some of us have done that over the years. Some of you have done it. So you may want to consider giving the gift of membership to the NAACP as you go back to work and everything. Derrick Johnson, the president of the NAACP. Derrick, 110th anniversary. The convention is where this year?
It'll be in Detroit, Michigan.
All right.
For me, it is going home. We're looking for delegates to come from around the country. 110th anniversary of NAACP, 50th anniversary of the Image Awards. We'll be holding the show March 30th. But one of the things that we all need to recognize is this will be the 400th year of the transatlantic slave
That's right.
trade. The very reason why we're here, and we must also acknowledge and recognize that and redouble our efforts to ensure we have a successful future for our children.
Tell us more, if you would, how the NAACP is going to be involved in the year of return in Ghana.
Well, we're working now with the country of Ghana to look at a particular calendar. Mark, I can assure you, once that calendar is fully developed, I will be making that announcement on your show.
Good.
We are excited with the possibility of building a relationship with the diaspora. The NAACP, we are an NGO to the United Nations, and with that status, we recognize that we must increase our relationship, our visibility, and our outreach to the African diaspora in the way in which we can align our interests to make sure that Africans around the world unite around the need to fight for human dignity.
Amen. At Derrick NAACP on Twitter and on Instagram. Of course, follow the NAACP as well, NAACP.org. Derrick, again, Happy New Year to you and your entire staff and the leadership at the NAACP. You all know the affection I have for all of you. And myself and Make It Plain are always at your service, my brother, okay?
Hey, look, I appreciate you, and I watched you over the holiday like you went down to Nashville, sat at the lunch counter, visited Fisk, and I'm sure that journey home felt good.
Oh, yeah, it certainly did. Yeah, they reopened the Woolworths where the sit-in movement started in 1960, and I sat in the seat John Lewis sat in. A bit of history that my buddy, Attorney David Ewan, gave me, and I'd heard this before, but I'd forgotten it. He's one of the lead historians down there. The civil rights movement began to sing "We Shall Overcome." That song became the official theme of the movement at the Woolworths lunch counter during the sit-ins in Nashville in 1960. That's when, and they sang it first at the Woolworths, and it was on the news. And after that, it just caught on. The term viral didn't exist back then, but that's what happened. And so it was great to be a part of that history. Derrick, love you, brother, and love to the family, man. Okay.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take
Yes,
care.
yes, sir, man. Thank you so much. 866-99-SIRIUS, 866-997 4748. Starting the year off with Derrick Johnson, president of the NAACP.